Kuti iende atimboda iye ground yakaipa mazviziva anzi ndiyo inongotora mikombe yose saka musarwadziwa. Pull up, pull up, pull up, pull up, aineti kudzokorora iye ground Zimbabwe.
Ear Ground Radio. New voices amplified.
Welcome to Ear Ground, New Voices Amplified, and my name is King Boaz, all the way from Pantu Ziyatunga Umfazi Ushayindota. But these days, what you know, Umfazi Utandindota. It's the city of kings, and I have another king from the city of kings, not only from the city of kings, but from one of the oldest township, which is the foundation of Bulawayo, which is the mother of most art and disciplines or inspiration for most people in Bulawayo. I am with Mbonisi Zikhali, aka Zomkhonto, the poet of Not. Welcome to the show, my brother.
Yebo, imakokova, really makokova ngayifika so it's really handsome. Yeah, very confident. So
Yeah. Nice. So how are you doing, my brother? How are you doing and how is everything?
Oh, my life has been uplifted by God once again because uNkulunkulu listens to my poems. So but lembongi. So every looking la la ngibhale phansi yazi kube mnandi yazi because you know poetry is the foundation of life. When you poem, you are declaring war and declaring peace at the same time.
Yeah.
So Mina, when I write so that people can feel what an emotion sounds and feels like.
Yeah.
So what I saw, like looking at those vendors and those people pushing all, you know, and saw the pain deep down inside their heart, and also saw their happiness. Yes, but I and decided I can use a pen to change a life, lift them from the depth of their pain. If I can take them to the greatest height that I saw my people flying, even when they were on their bicycle work.
Yeah.
If I can transform a child, make that child feel so loved and so believed. If I make them run a marathon up a mountain, just using words, then my job is.
Yeah. All right. So let's start off from the beginning. And how did you fall in love with art, or how did you know like art is my element? This is something that I want to do. Do you remember even the first time you sat down and wrote a poem or enjoyed a poem?
I wrote a poem when I was 8 years old called My Bed Ears.
Do you remember the poem?
Yes. So, I was like describing my ears and how, they hang in a way that I don't like.
All right.
Bed ears. My ears are bad because my ears are big. They are my bed ears, but I don't like my bed ears. They hear a lot, they find a lot, but I hate my bed ears. But I'm too young to understand ears. That's the competition. And yeah, it actually won a prize. It was a national competition. And I remember it was Mrs. Siwela at the time, Eloche, because I went to
Yeah.
Loche primary school. So she called me in front and said, recite a poem. And so, my hands were shaking. But, I recited it. And then the school claps like, yeah. So that I fell in love. I was like, okay, if we can do this, then when I entered the Mzilikazi High School,
Yeah.
I wrote this poem, right? And my English teacher, it was called Cry of a Rhino.
All right.
And my English teacher took it and took it straight to the headmaster, Uchiromo, and said,
Uh,
I cheated my class.
yeah.
So that was the second one that shook me. And then what just happened recently?
Yeah.
Muchemwa, the daughter of Kizito Muchemwa, another author.
Yeah.
I didn't know that I had forgotten like so many books in her house because we used to write almost every day.
All right.
I had forgotten them, and they were written in like those books, Tulana, those. So she just sent them to me.
Ah, nice.
So I was reading them and seeing my mind like, I'm like, wow. When I was a young man coming into being, is this what I wrote?
Yeah.
Because I was frustrated. I was angry. You know how it is when you're
Yeah.
angry. So, but I'm not angry anymore. You see,
Yeah.
that is the thing, right? Because I'm not angry anymore. I'm actually a very peaceful man now.
Yeah.
So when I that angry young man, I'm like what hurt him? So I've been going through them, like reading each page, and like there's so many things that I said, my friend. Yes,
Yeah.
my brother. I said so many things, and so now that I'm a peaceful man, I can look at myself and forgive myself. You
Yeah.
see.
Yeah.
I can beg and forgive myself and say, yes, I have Ubuntu
All right.
and Abantu.
Yeah.
You don't, brother, no matter what they've done wrong. You first listen to your sister's story before you judge her.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter, maybe, she sells her body at night. Doesn't matter. Listen to why she got there.
Yeah. All right. So your love for poetry seemed like it was blossoming even when you were at high school. Did you have the family support? Did they think this is something that was worth your time instead of doing mathematics and English? Because most of us are being pushed in those two directions and away from anything that is either technical, athletic, or arty.
Mm. You see, me, the first time that I performed for my mother. Because, you know, people used to call her like, that's criminal thought.
Yeah.
She didn't get it at the time, but she knew I wrote. And I know that she was reading my papers in secret because they would always be moved from where I
Yeah.
was sleeping. Like, someone was reading this, you know. But the first day I performed for her, it was a very deep thing. And I was like, ithulethule umhlolo wawo wonke amaphupho. Uphengile ibutho lompangazo wenhlupho, ngiphethe indubo ngomhlana, ngicula amahubo, ngihaya inkondlo zamadlozi akithi, nyikinye imfuko, nsikize induku enyemeni, ngesandla sokunxele kwesokudla ngiphethe isibuko, ngizifana ukuphila, flathela izisobo zilila njengengane, waqhamuka umbane, ngenyukana olwandle, ngilandela isibane, nxanxatha iphane egcwele zonke inyoka nezilwane. It was a movie. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the last verse I cried. Umama wasukuma wabuye gijima towards me. Wambamba zakhala song. That day I believed in God. That day I believed in God. Because when we walked home, she was like, what you did to me, my son, I'll never until the day I died. Today I believed in you. And then I took, the mother of my child when she was fully pregnant, about to give birth. I took her to a show. She came out of there and she said, "Hey, Mbonisi, I don't know what to do with you. Like
Yeah.
you in volume. I speak in volumes intentionally because
Yeah.
you see, Kova, Imako Kova has always been disrespected.
Yeah.
No matter how much art we give them, you see. But I believe in everyone. I love art because I believe in everyone. I'm not going to let a single child go without, even when I have nothing on that day. I'll just give them moral support and say, Makukuba child, play your soccer, dlala, do
Yeah.
everything in this world. Reclaim everything they've taken away from you. That is why I'm doing this workshop later on.
Yeah. All right. We'll talk about the workshop later on, and then get the details of the workshop. Now you are at high school. You've done all these things. You have the family support. But does the education curriculum have a system that hones your talent? Because for you to be fluent in English, we had lessons. For you to be good in arithmetic, we had lessons. For you to be good at history, there was a history teacher. But was there then a platform that honed your talent and said, you're a poet, if you're going to conquer the world stage, these are the tools you need for you to be better, and these are the other people maybe that have gone before you that you can learn from?
So me, my everyday thing was Mzili as a library. Oh man, La Piana. We used to watch this man. I remember this guy, the puppet show, and he was doing it right in front of the library, and doing it in your language. When you see it in your language, Then you go back and watch cartoons, and you're like, but that guy is the greater cartoonist,
Yeah.
So, yeah, this library was my stepping stone. Mana including a freestyle. The legacy library was where I saw everything, even contrary, because my soul got lifted. A gift from Marco Cole.
Yeah.
One who saw men teaching the Natumato,
Mm-hmm.
saw them on the next fight.
Yeah.
That's how I right. A Marco Cova child who saw women with different brought them in and some fought for zebra, carried them so high.
Yeah.
Those children that looked in the mirror and hated themselves only for a second before their grandmothers talked to them and told them how beautiful and handsome they are. Those that played the drum. Oh, ngiyakumbula, yes, ngiyakumbula. Because sometimes being here can destroy your soul from the moment you walk down the porch and
Yeah.
start walking in the street, and people are crossing the street because they are afraid of you. And you stop pulling down your hair and putting it in all these different colors just to hide how beautiful you are.
Yeah.
The Tignon laws in the 1600s, they shut down the Creole women who had colorful hair because as women, were afraid of how beautiful they are and thought they would steal their men. So they created a law
Yeah.
to cover their hair.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
I'm
Now coming
proud
to
of this.
sorry, you can finish up. I thought you were done.
Okay, it's okay.
All right.
Now I
Yeah.
was going
So
too
saying that
far.
now we have a kind of an idea of the poetry that warned you, and then you did not stop there. You went on to be part of Umlomo Wako poetry, which was big. Not only in Bulawayo, I've met almost people from all over the country who have benefited from Umlomo Wako, which was at the Bulawayo National Art Gallery. What was happening at Umlomo Wako, and how did this come about, and what tools were there? What was the vision? What were you guys trying to do?
So I grew up with two Simba Mkabet who lived at Shalani Flat. Okay.
Yes.
So when I was working in Harare, we started this initiative because it's called the Southern Africa Hip Hop Initiative. That's where Umloko evolved,
All right.
And so, my son of friend, Gabon, it was just such a beautiful time, because all of us were just like young men wanting to say something,
Yeah.
And so our, like, what we derived pleasure from was just speaking. So we started going to the park. We used to go to the park and it would be filled with like about 25 people just sitting in that round gazebo in the park
Yeah.
and just
Yeah.
freestyle going crazy on each other. So we already knew that you guys are saying heavy things. Like you just hear heavy things and you're like, mom, I'm going to the park. Like, what are you going to do at the park? I'm like, I'm going to think. So it was such a fascinating time. And from that, Simba was like, Yazi, I'm thinking okay, umlomo wakho give people their voice,
Yeah.
So that's where it evolved. But the only like thing that hurt me at that was that I was in Harare most of the time.
All
You know
right.
what I mean? I came back to the gallery, I unloaded on people, and they're like, ah, Uras, those are shokalo. So that was my part. The way it became even interesting was when even Cynic, who is one of the best MCs in the country, came down. He's like, I need to see this.
Yeah.
We took walks around the city. He's like, but bro, something is happening in this city. I'm telling you. And I'm like, hey, I told you so. He's like, yeah, I believe now. But him coming all the way, was just fascinating to me. Him coming all the way to say, I need to see what's going on. That quick way man I'll love until like he entered the grave. I love people like that. That's why I always say is arriving in real time.
Ah,
you
nice.
know.
Yeah, yeah. So now looking at Umlomo Wako, I have spoken to Simba Kabeta. I'm yet to have an interview with him. I spoke to Hennings, one of the
Yeah.
guys. Yeah, I spoke to Orthodox, MC Title. All those are guys that were part of this system. These are young men that were motivated with this art and hip hop thing. And
I'll never.
yeah, yeah. So what happened to this momentum, and also as far as economic gains from the art, was this a factor maybe to say we cannot do this, we need to do other things? Because most of these guys, while they're still involved in art to a certain extent, they're doing something else that is now away. Art is now to them that other thing that they can do, but is not something that brings or puts bread on the table.
Mm, mm. Well, like when Intasa Festival stepped in,
Yeah.
it was a bad time, my brother. But that 200 US, when it came in your pocket, you're like, whoa. You do the dance, you leave, some money for grandma. Grandma prays for you at 4 a.m. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, when they stepped in, it was beautiful. But I think like the business sector doesn't take us serious. You see, so even when you have all these businessmen, Wabalama Quantum and stuff, they just don't take you seriously.
Yeah.
So you're presenting these things to them, they're like, ras, umala.
Yeah.
Get out of this room, Rasta, because all of this nonsense you're spreading around, we don't it's manageable. But now, you see what's happening now. There's this thing called non-fungible tokens, right?
Yeah.
So instead of selling your song as a song, you are selling it as a piece of art. Selling it as a piece of art. So you can actually make 3,000 US in one day.
All right. All right. Yeah. That's the NFT. Now that you've brought it up, maybe if you can just briefly explain to people how this system works. I know we have a graphic designer from Zimbabwe that is he had his art, I think it was bought by Chris Brown, if I'm not mistaken, and he has done some other artwork for other American album cover for some hip hop cats in America. How does this work? Just to divert a bit to say, if anyone wants to put their stuff on NFT, how does this work?
I wouldn't want to mislead you because the best person to speak on this will be my friend Paga Maspan.
Okay.
Yeah, the inside out. But we've already been working on bringing people in
Okay.
and trying to make them see that, and we'll do it through like many platforms. We'll do it through a TV station. We'll do it through blogs. We'll make people video blog, and we'll make people like come closer to these pieces. So if someone is selling a piece, someone is selling a song, someone is selling any type of art, then we start throwing them out like that. And
All
then
right.
we get up. Then
Yeah,
we
nice.
get
I hope that we can be able to catch up with
oh,
Parama someday and have a more
yeah.
in-depth dialogue on that. Yeah.
After we are done, I am going to speak to Pagama directly and I make
Yeah.
you two links. Then you put him,
Nice.
he tells you, because that will be best information you ever hear.
Nice.
Best information you ever hear. Because
Uh,
was brought up by UPK Spanda, who is like a PhD guy. So obviously, when you grow up around such guys,
yeah.
So that this information needs, especially because he loves music, especially because he loves, graphic design. He done many stuff, many things for me. That he has done logos for me, and he even encouraged me to start making online. But I'm not ready to share them yet because I'm still, yeah, Uh, yeah, that one needs to happen. I'll talk to him just after we're
All
done.
right. Awesome. Yeah. And then you then moved from Zimbabwe to Canada, I understand. And maybe we start off with the culture shock and what was out of place for you. What you would say, this is something that I didn't expect, or this is how I envisioned the overseas to be. But when I got here, these are the things that I then came across.
And like the first time I felt the heat from here, I bought a yoga and sleep outside naked. I was like, yes, the heat can get too hot, then it can get cold.
All right. All right. Yeah.
So, too so your body is in shock. So, like 5 days, I fainted when I was in the kitchen. That was my first experience of hospital. I only
Oh,
woke up late, and everyone is like surrounding me, like, what happened?
yeah.
The
It's just too much.
heat is
Yeah.
ras, ras. That was the first time I cut my hair. Like I was so traumatized, I had to cut my hair.
Sorry.
Like, no, I want my hair back.
Yeah, yeah. All right. And then now comparing the two spaces in terms of poetry, you've gone through quite a number of years doing poetry in Zimbabwe, and then now you are exposed to poetry in Canada. How would you compare the two
Oh, there's
experiences?
words, man. With words, it's always different with each and every person. Right
Yeah,
now, I have a friend of mine called from like, when he performs, you close your eyes, you know, just in case you miss the experience. You just have to close your eyes, you know. Just like too many people, man. And we used to like hold these two poetry slams, right?
yeah,
One was called Urban Slam, and the other was called Capital Slam. And the people you met there, some of them will perform from the street, from being homeless.
yeah,
So there's so much to talk about.
yeah.
Yes. I can't imagine because we're full with like the House of Hunger Poetry Slam. That was amazing because the first poetry slam at the House of Hunger, I'm the one that won that night. So
Oh,
never forget that. I
yeah.
will never forget that for the rest of my life. So to compare the two scenes, because even the other one that we had in Ottawa, the, the whole room will be dark, and all you have are just lights around.
All right.
So, you know, as you're reciting, people you can't even make out their faces. You only make out the light.
Yeah.
You know, so you're walking around the light and
Yeah.
saying, and they're like, "Where are you from?" I'm like, "Zimbabwe." They're like, "Where is Zimbabwe?"
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm like, Google, man. Come on.
Yeah.
Google. I don't need to be telling you people where I'm from every time. And you're going to be finding it on a map. That's disrespect. Find where I'm from, you know. And one day, if you Google enough, you'll find that I'm from Makukoba. And you start, you know, you start reading about Makukoba. So playing. So
Yeah.
playing with my emotions. Yeah, well, so the two scenes are, are beautiful duality to me. A very beautiful duality because now I have reference from both sides. So no
Sides. Yeah.
me, yeah, no one can come to me and say you're not a poet and your poetry is not good enough
Yeah.
because I use that duality from the moment I walk out of the house.
Yeah. Ah, nice. Yeah. Nice. And then how do you find yourself in this space where you you are around black emancipation, emancipating the landscape? How does this come about? And maybe if you can talk about that, are blacks not emancipated? If they are not, what are the vices that are holding blacks, and what can be done? And also, on that, let's compare the two. You meet the blacks in Ottawa, in Canada. They are blacks in Africa. These people all have their problems. Is this emancipation a recipe for everyone, or is this emancipation that is only for the Ottawa blacks, or is for every black in the world?
The first sin against ourselves is that we doubt each other. And that is not emancipation.
All right.
The moment you doubt the person that's sitting next to you, you've started a spiral of pain that hurts our children, that leads to wars, that kills so many black men and women each
Yeah.
and every minute as we speak.
Yeah.
So when I became part of emancipation in emancipating the landscape, one of the greatest inspirations of that was that the guy that began it, my friend TJ Travis, this guy went and said he's an African Canadian. He went in the US and searched for the actual house where his family was kept as slaves. You know?
Yeah.
So his idea of emancipating the landscape, I know where it comes from because we've had these conversations. You know, we've had these conversations. Emancipation is bigger, so big because you're doing it mostly for the children. It is the children that you're trying to affect
Yeah.
or infect. So when I think emancipating the landscape, I'm think I'm thinking of something way deeper. I'm thinking of like how people can see themselves and find peace. I'm thinking how look in the sky, you see possibility and reach even further than that sky. Get inside all of the black hole.
Yeah.
Find out what is on that. You know.
Yeah.
So think yourself. That's why I sent you that decolonizing the mind.
Yeah.
The best thing you could ever do for yourself is to decolonize your mind.
All right.
Once that, then you never have any. And when problems come, you face them like a man. You close your eyes and know that I come from Makokoba. No
Yeah.
one in anything. No one, even on my darkest days, when I'm losing my friend, rest in peace, don't rest in peace, Kelvin, rest in peace, my brother, Ramana, yes, yeah, that's emancipation. Even when we lose our own, we wake up the next day and say, listen, you still alive, you got work. Remember them, just carry them in their heart and know that they are leaving because of you, because you have not forgotten.
Yeah.
You see, because once you forget, you do not emancipate.
All right.
But if you remember, you emancipate.
All right. I would like to talk about the workshop and maybe the theme of the workshop and what's going to happen on the workshop. But before we go there, if there is one thing right now that you could give to Makokoba, what would that be? A child is in Makokoba, they may be dreaming, they may not be able to dream, but this is a child, he is alive, he has to have a future. What would you give to them today?
If now they are 3-day instructors, Father Moyo, or Moses Mutiporo, and all of them. All right. There's an initiative called Chessmates Academy. I have been canvassing all over. They work with the Marco Kova Chess Club as well. So those kids, they are, they are my focus right now. Sometimes I lose sleep because one of them is my child who always beats me at chess.
Yeah.
He's like, exposing a rook. What's wrong with you? I'm like, oh, damn. Then he hits me, like, checkmate, and it feels good. It's like, listen, get your game stronger, So that's the first contribution. For me, it's for those kids to, like, when they're going to a chess game to eat, when they're going to a chess game, I'm working with Priska Banda, all these beautiful people. So if our children can go to a chess game, because that's mathematics, that's the mathematics that those kids are using. So why would they not do it on a full stomach? You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Yeah. So I've been like canvassing. I was talking to this guy from Memphis. He's like, "All right, I'm throwing you 1,000." I'm like, "Thank you. Let's go." But I'm going to work so hard that we get even more money. And people listen, wake up and listen. Wake up. There's some kids that are doing this in Makokoba, playing chess. We want to make it cool. We want to make it cool. For
Yeah.
the people go to a chess game and like, okay, I'm about to learn chess. We're talking to that guy from Queen of Cartway. We are not playing, man. We do not play. Those kids, they have to get somewhere.
Oh, awesome. That is a great initiative. Yeah. Now coming to the workshop that is happening tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Central Time, which is about 11 p.m. in Central Africa and 8 p.m. in GMT. So maybe if you can give us details, what is the poetry workshop about? What do you seek to achieve on this? You are one of the panelists. You are one of the people that will be leading this particular workshop. What is it that people can look forward to? And who is your target audience? Who will you encourage to be joining this Zoom workshop?
My target audience is the world, because I love people. You know, whoever comes in the workshop and gets inspired, that's my job tonight. You know, and I'll be there to listen too. You see, so when we were talking about this with TJ Travis, you know, initially started with me wanting people to write about trauma. And he's like, nah, trauma?
Yeah.
Man, people have been facing too much. I was like, okay, man, you're right, you're right. So I was like, all right, black excellence and joy, you know, the joy that comes from waking up in the morning. You know, the other day I posted there was this bug sitting next to me. I've never seen it in my life. It's like yellow and white, black. Oh my! I take a photo. What's this? You know. So I want people to listen to themselves when they write. That is my obsession. Listen to yourself when you write. Don't use English because you know you think, oh, I write good, I write good. No, no one writes good.
Yeah.
But then, like, if you close your eyes and write from the heart, you grow yourself, and people grow into you. People now start hating around you. People you never even met in any social circle start reading your stuff and saying, you know what? Well, you're
Awesome.
right.
Awesome. I will definitely be joining the workshop. I hope more people will be encouraged to join. The workshop is happening from 7 to 8:15 Eastern Time on Zoom. That will be from 11 to around midnight in Central Africa, and that will be from 10 to around 11 GMT. So you can check with your time zone wherever you are and make sure that you join Mbonisi the King doing what he knows best. And I want to let you go, but before I let you go, you're putting on a shirt that is written Ubuntu, and Ubuntu is something that has been so synonymous with Africa, and I think we've given it, or we've fit it in so many descriptions of trying to define who we are. Maybe if you can, just in a few words, and say, what is Ubuntu? How would you try and define that?
Do you know what shocked me? Because I was in Rwanda at one time, right? And when I arrived, it was during the time when they were mourning the genocide.
Yeah.
So it was frustrating, the memory of some of the things I saw tore my heart apart. But recently, a friend of mine, when I posted Umuntu Ngumuntu Ngabantu, because they speak Kinyarwanda, right? He's like, that's the same way we say it, except that it changes with them. I think it's Ununtu or something like that. Ununtu, Ununtu Ngabantu.
Yeah.
Oh, we arrived in East Africa too. Actually, I've to know we are conquered.
Yeah.
You see, this Ubuntu thing for me runs deeper.
Yeah.
So for me, when you say umuntu ngumuntu ngabantu, you have said something that you cannot take back. You have said something that you will never be able to take back. Once you become selfish, then you have lost wound. Once you have become and are such a narcissist that you wake up in the morning, every little thing you have lost wound.
Yeah.
And never ever have it back again unless you come back and apologize to your people.
Awesome. Yeah.
Your people will forgive you. If you lose your pride, we will forgive you. We will welcome you back. We'll put clothes on your back. We'll cook a meal for you. Before we ask you, why did you mean your apology? Did you mean your apology?
Yeah.
If you meant it, oh, we good.
Awesome.
I'm telling
Yeah.
you, never, ever let you go again.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time, mate. Any last words before I let you go? It's been a pleasure to have you on Ear Ground.
Last words. My brother, you are my brother for life. Lord Marco, brother for life. All of the brothers and the sisters, and I'll fight to death for them. I'll fight to the death if death came to collect them.
Yeah, thank you
So
so
that's
much.
my last. Kunyiwe,
Awunyiwe.
ngomnyi.
That was Mbonisi Zikhali, Zomkhonto, a poetry of note. And I am King Boaz signing out. Until next time, it's Ear Ground, New Voices Amplified.
kuti iende atimboda iye ground yakaipa mazviziva hanzi ndiyo inongotora mikombe yose saka musarwadziwa pull up haineti kudzokorora iye ground Zimbabwe.
Ear Ground Radio. New voices amplified.